Hello everyone. I am Abhishek Chaudhary, a 23-year-old JavaScript developer, and in this video, we'll be seeing how to smoothly transition from front end to back end in Node.js, and the front end is, of course, will be made in React.js. And I have found a very interesting video by Mr. Raj Kapadia in which he has explained how we can make a Node.js project to run the Translate API, Google Translate API actually, to translate languages to translate text from one language to another. And although the project is useful, but in the comment section I have seen so many people saying that how can we make it in React. So I have tried, and let me show you. I have made separate terminals for both the ends, and let me start the servers for both the ends as well. This is for the front end, and this is for the back end. So as we can see, we have a text box in which, as I will enter some text in English, it will translate the text into given languages, that is Hindi, Marathi, Gujarati and Spanish. You can add more languages as you want. So maybe the project is basic, but we'll need some concepts like the JavaScript ES6 concepts like arrow functions, async await. We'll also need Axios concepts. We'll fetch APIs through Axios, so you will need to know that, but we will cover most of the things in the video. So let's start. So I'll open my project in the GitHub, and as you can see, I have uploaded the project on GitHub, and there's the documentation named as full-walkthrough.md, and I have mentioned all the steps that you need to perform to make the project. And by the way guys, before creating the project, you need to keep in mind that you must create an account in the Google Cloud Platform, that is the GCP, and they are giving free credits, that is around $300. So that is why it is very much necessary to create the account first. And what we will do next, as you can see in the steps, we need to go to the console, start a new project and name the projects, and these are the steps. I will show you what to do. So after setting the payment settings, what you need to do is create or select a project. Okay, you will create a new project. We'll name it as new translation, and project ID is this. We can edit it, new translation 424111. This project ID is very necessary, as we will use it in our env file. See what an env file is. Okay, so let's create it. Project is being created. So the project has been created, and what we will do next is we will, from the left bar, we will go to API and services and go to credentials. So click on it, and what you have to do now, this is the very important step, as the credentials file will be used in our project mainly. So what we'll do is create credentials, API key, auth client ID, but we will need a service account for that. I'll show you how to create a service account. Service account name, you can give it new translation service. Okay, create and continue. The rule that should be selected is actions and actions admin. Okay, continue. leave it as it is. As you can see, the service account has been created. Okay, new translation service. So as we can see, the services account has been created. We'll go to manage service accounts, and this is the most important step, guys. We need to download the credentials.json file, and for that, what we'll do, click on manage key option. We will add a key, create a new key, JSON create. Okay, as you can see, the file has been downloaded. What we will do is, we will rename it as credentials.json. Okay, there's one more step that we need to perform, and that is adding the API. And for that, we will go to APIs and services, enabled API and services. We will search for cloud translate API. As you can see, it's cloud translation API. We need to enable it in our project. So Google Cloud Translate API has been enabled. Now we will close the GCP window. So let's move to the coding part. So what we will do is, we will create a new folder for our app. We need to open it, and we will create two separate folders for front-end and back-end. One for front-end, another for the back-end. And before opening VS Code, what we'll do is, we will cut paste this credentials, not in the front end, credentials.json file in our backend folder. Then let's move to our VS Code. So for opening the project in VS Code, what we will do, in the root folder, we will create in, we will click on more properties and open with VS Code. So as we can see, our project has been opened in VS Code. Here is the backend part where there is only one file named credentials.json, and the front-end file is folder is obviously empty now. So what we will do now, we will create two separate terminals for our front-end and backend. So let's create two terminals. One will be the front end and another terminal for the back end. In the front end, we will type cd front end, so that the command, we go to the directory of front end, and in the back end we will type change directory backend. Done. We can start coding now. So we will follow the steps that I have mentioned. So to initialize the node project, we will initialize our node project in the backend, and for that we will need to copy this code, that is npm init. It will initialize the node app in our backend. So package name backend, okay. Version, description, will not give any description. Entry point is index.js, it is okay. Test command, we will leave it as blank. And the git repository, we will leave it. Keywords, no. Author Abhishek, done. License ISC. So our node project has been set up. As you can see, credentials.json. No, the package.json has the dependencies. So now we will install the necessary packages in our backend terminal, and those packages are, we'll first need the env .env package, so that we can use the env files, and then we will use the express package, and we will also need @Google Translate, no, Google Cloud Translate. Let me check it, verify. Yes, this is Google Cloud Translate. All of my code is available in the full walkthrough file, so you can get it. So all the packages has been installed. We can see in the node modules folder, and also the credentials. Now what we'll do is, in the package.json file, we will remove this test command, and we will add the command of start, so that we can start the server through node index.js, so that we type npm run start, and our code in the index.js file will run. We'll save it and we'll test it. For that, we'll first create a file in backend name index.js. Now let's test. Here and npm run start. As you can see, our server is running properly. So we'll go to the next step. Let's create an index.js file. Create a .env file. This is the most important step, guys. We need to create a .env file, so that not all of the important stuff or the sensitive stuff in our code gets posted on the GitHub. So for now, we will just put two of the variables, that is project ID and code name, in the env file. So let's start. Let's create a .env file. In the env file, we will keep port is equal to 3000, and we will also need to give project ID. I will explain why we will need this. We will copy it from the credentials.json file. As you can see, new translation. I will of course delete my project, so that nobody can do anything. You need to create your own credentials.json file, and from there you can get your project ID. Okay. our env file has been created. Now let's start with our index.js file. I have put my code in the documentation file, so I will quickly copy it in here, and I will start explaining it line by line. So I will start explaining the index.js code line by line. So in the first line, we have written require.env.config. That is, we are requiring the .env file that we have just configured. Here is the .env file in which we have mentioned the port number as well as the project ID from the credentials file, the credentials.json file here. And then in the index.js file, we have express, const express is equal to require express. That is, we are using the express server here. Express is actually a JavaScript package, JavaScript library that is used to create a server. So after that, we have const app is equal to express. That is, we are making an app on the express server, and then we are using port. Const port is equal to process.env.port, and port is stored in the .env file. And if something bad happens and the port is not imported, we will use the 3000 port. Okay, and in this file we can see that we have destructured an object from the Google Cloud Translate API.v2, that we are just destructuring and taking something from the API. We will see later in the video what we are taking. So initialize Google Cloud Translation client, that we have initialized a variable named translate, and in that we have taken the keys of the translate object, and in the object we have two keys, project ID. We have taken the project ID. From the project ID we have mentioned in the .env file, and the key file name that we have taken from the /credentials.json is stored here. Okay. Then we have the array of languages. We have taken languages like we will take two keys in the languages array, and it is the array of objects. We have taken code and the names as the keys. So let me add another language here. I will use code and name of the language. We need to spell it correctly. So we will go to language codes. We will open the Wikipedia, and then we will type ctl plus f. The search bar will open, and we will type, suppose we will type German. So as we can see, German is the language and D is the language code. So we will write DE, and German is the language. Then we will use a middleware through express.json. Middleware is nothing but an intermediary when we when we want to post or request something from the API in the backend. And then we have app.post. This is the main code. From here, what we are doing is we are giving a text. We had seen that in the front end we had a text box that the user will enter the text, and this text is taken by request.body, that passing the text in the backend through the API app.post, that we are posting our text to the Google Translate API. Try const translation. We have taken an empty object, and then we in the array of languages we have used for of loop, and in it we have destructured an array, and this is the main code, guys. This is await translate.translate. That is, it is taking two parameters. It is taking two arguments. That is, first the text, that is the user is passing the English text, and then the language code. Language.code is this code. Lang.code, that is the HIMRGU and D. Then we are passing the lang code as the key name, and then the translation. Translation will come from here. It will just be a translated text, and then we are taking the lang.name as the key. That is, in this empty object we are taking the key as this name German, and then the translation, we will post the translation through the API. Translated text will be posted in respective languages. Then we have rest.json translation. We are sending the translations object from the backend here. We are catching the error, that is translation error, and then rest.status, that is the status of the error is 500 on the server. Then we are using app.get request response. These are the routes, guys. That is, first we are our route is /API/translate in our backend, and then we have slash, that is the home route. This is welcome to the translator app will be typed. Then we have app.listen, that is the port on listening. That is, the app is listening on port this. Okay, so backend code is complete. Let me start the server to npm run start. As you can see, the server is running on localhost 3000. So if we type localhost 3000, you can see welcome to the translator app that we wrote there. So backend server is running. What we'll do is we will close it for now. We'll terminate our server. Let's first move to our front-end part. So for our front-end part, in the front-end directory, we will write the command npm create reach@latest and then space dot to create the project in the same directory. It is asking which project, React, and then JavaScript. As you can see, the project has been created. Now we will type npm I to install the node modules. So our node modules have been installed, and let us install the Axios package. Okay, now what we'll do is we will clean our code. We will first delete everything in the src folder except the main.jsx. And the main.jsx, we will remove these two files. Okay, and in the src folder we need to create a folder named translation Inside the folder we will create two files. First, translation app.jsx, and then translation app.css for the CSS code. Okay, and then we will go in our main.jsx and import our translation app.jsx here. This is not importing. Let us paste the template code here, RFC, and then we will try to import it. Translate app. Okay, so it has been imported. Now what we'll do is we will paste our translation app.jsx and translation app.css codes here. This is our translation app.jsx, and in this code we have imported the React use state hook and then the Axios package, and then import translation app.css file. Okay, so we need to now copy the translation app.css. I have given you all the code in the full walkthrough.md file. Okay, so our code is complete, almost complete actually. We'll see in a minute. So our front end code is complete. So what we'll do is we will start our server, npm run dev. Okay, it is running. Translation error. Why? Because we haven't yet started our backend server. npm run start. So the server is running on 3000 port. We'll again go refresh, then we will enter our text, and it still not works. So now we will discuss something called CORS. It's cross origin resource sharing, that is said to be the nightmare for developers. So we will have to set up a proxy so that the backend and the front end parts of our project gets connected with each other. So for this we will go to read.config.js, and in my full walkthrough.md file, as you can see, I have mentioned the code. We'll copy and paste it after the plugins. Okay. This, whenever the route/API is seen, it must be understood as http://localhost 3000. Okay. Let's refresh. Type our. So our project works. As you can see, our text has been translated. So I have made a playlist. I will add my video also to this playlist. The first video is the Raj Kapadia video that he has mentioned how to set up the Node.js project, simple Node.js project without the front end. And in the second video, Hitesh sir has taught how to connect the front end and the back end part so easily. You can also check out his video. Okay.